Good evening, everyone. Before we start today's session, please feel free to scan the QR code and you will get to do the check-in. This will give you access to additional resources and information about events that we are running on the reactor, which are around similar topics to today's session. Also, you will be able to access related links to today's session. I will share the event check-in link and the QR code again on the chat section shortly. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor. This session will run over the next 60 minutes, including Q&A. The session is being recorded and will be made available to watch on demand on the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. I will share the link to our YouTube channel in the chat section soon. Quick word on our code of conduct. We display this at all Microsoft Reactor events that we run, and it is really just a reminder to be aware of others. The key thing to take out here is to be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Also, please keep your mics muted during the session. I would now like to welcome Vivek, our speaker for today's session. Vivek is a tech enthusiast and an open source contributor with around 15 years of experience in the software industry. He works at Microsoft as Senior Developer Product Marketing Manager. But for now, I will hand over to Vivek to begin the session. Over to you, Vivek.
Hey, thanks, Rashmita. Just a second, I'll just share my screen. You can see my screen? No, right? Oh, there is a problem.
Not yet.
There's some issue. Okay. You can?
Yes, Vivek, we can see the screen.
Perfect. Hey all, by the way, thanks for joining on a Wednesday evening. I know this is an odd time to attend a session as well. And I'm super excited, by the way, to kick off this series. So the background to this series is I myself was, spending time and learning GitHub Actions, especially for Azure. I was designing something and building something, how easily I can do a couple of things. Since I was building some demos, I was reading about some stuff, and I wanted to make sure that I use a easier way to automate it. So then, I spent some time on GitHub Actions, and I felt it's more people need to understand end to end of it, and I am trying to make sure that you understand almost everything in through these four-part series. Um, so the background to this is we have um, four four sessions. One that is today, which is the first session. We are focusing on introduction to GitHub Actions. So basically, understanding what is GitHub Actions, what are those, and why it came into picture, and a couple of workflows use cases, and we will see there are syntax to it, there are concepts to it, how it runs and everything. So we will see a demo of it, and we will do an end-to-end demo, by the way. So um, I'll be building an app, I'll be containerizing an app, and we'll be publishing it through GitHub Actions itself. So that is the background to today's session. But there are other sessions which has been planned, which is 14th, where I will not talk about GitHub Actions. In-depth introduction to it will be done in this session itself. So here we will deep dive into how to build something for Azure Kubernetes service, how to set it up from a production point of view, and for serverless as well, which is Azure Functions, which we are looking at. And 28th, we have specifically for database. There are a couple of things which changes in database and for ML models. So there is something which we will discuss on 28th. I will also, discussing in depth with how you can do a multiple GitHub action now workflows or the jobs within the workflows, and how you can build inter dependent workflows and other things. So it's basically it's going to be an advanced session for if you want to learn GitHub Actions. And from a from a 30th perspective, we'll focus on security, and specifically I want to build something for scanning your containers and other things, but I'll also focus on a couple of other things with respect to security and Visual Studio Code extensions. What are the tips and tricks you can use from Visual Studio Code? But primarily this specific session, we will focus on Q&A. So I want to make sure that people attending these sessions from start to end, that is on 30th, people have gone through the content, people have done hands-on, and you come back on 30th with a lot of questions, so that we can all debate. And obviously we would have gone through all the things with respect to Azure and GitHub Actions, so that we can definitely go and discuss a lot in this session. So I'm looking forward to this session because I want people who to come back with questions in this session. So I want to interact with people who are using it, who started using it after these sessions, and want to see how exactly we can build on top of that. So before I start my session, I just want to give a brief intro. Um, I did start my career with IBM India Software Labs 15 years back, and did some DevOps, and founded a company, and was part of the DigitalOcean as a developer advocate. And today I lead the product marketing for community initiatives from Microsoft perspective. So that's me. So it's always like this, right? We always start with discussions. What is GitHub Actions, right? Um, so there is a kind of misunderstood. People think that GitHub Action is it's a CI/CD tool, and it's not. It's basically a simple platform to automate developers' workflow. So when I talk about developers' workflow, what it is? So it's from a GitHub perspective. What do you do? Say for example, you have a repository, you create a repository in an organization or in within even your personal repository, and you create an open source project. What is next? So there are users, there are contributors, there are maintainers, there is people who are using submitting issues, people join in as contributors, right? So there is a lot of events which are happening within your repository. And what you want to drive is, you don't want to sit there and do manual work, right? So you want to automate some of the stuff. Like if somebody submit an issue on a specific thing, can you automate that issue and label it as reproducible or label it as something else in GitHub? That is the kind of automation you wanted to, you want to drive if you want to build a scalable, repository strategy or GitHub strategy, right? So, so that is where GitHub Actions came into picture to build an automation around your software development lifecycle, specifically from GitHub, where you are storing your source code. So that was the main intention to build this feature for GitHub. And you know I, I don't want to go into too many slides where you talk about what are those events, what is trigger, and all those things. But I want to make sure that we see it while we're doing it, and we talk about it, and we learn, and we discuss about it while we are driving these sessions, right? So let me directly get into the demo. There is no more slides, right? So let me open up this. Oh shit, not this one. Sorry, where is my VS Code? Okay, so this one. So what we are going to do now is we will take an app, we will build an app basically, and we will containerize it. And I will show you how easy to containerize an app and get started with an app. And then we will deploy it to a registry, which is Azure Container Registry. And then we'll deploy that specific code to Azure App Service. Um, so this is one flow. This has nothing to do with GitHub Actions, but we'll take that app to GitHub and then we will try and build a workflow for it so that whenever we make a change, it builds the container and it deploys to the registry and it deploys to the Azure App Service. Okay, so this is what we're going to drive today. And let me go back to my terminal. To, so what we're going to do is, so I don't know how many of you know there's an Express generator, and it generates a simple app for you, Express app for you. And let us go back and just create a generator saying my demo app. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is just to create an app, and then we will see how to get this to app service, and then we will take it to GitHub Actions, and we will obviously go through all the syntax and what are the things, what is events and other things from a terminology and everything. We will go through that as well. So let's open my demo app, and then we do an npm install. It's pretty simple to get started with an Express app. It's right there. And we have the package, right? Yes. So we have the package. So it's so easy to create. Let me close this off. Let me open. Code, repos, reactor, my demo. Okay. So let me open this repo. Yes, I trust. Okay. Now we can go to code, command let, and say add a Docker file to this, right? So it's pretty simple. You can run a command, say add a Docker file. So it just creates a Docker file for me. Select all those things, Node.js, because this is a Node app, and then select whichever port you want to run, and then say it is not a Docker Composer file, it's just a simple Docker file. So just say no, and you will be able to generate a Docker file for this specific tool. So it's this app, now we have a Docker file. It's easy. I don't want to change anything. It Docker itself figure out and creates that for you. And all you need to do is to create an image, and image is ready. It's building an image. So this is a very simple thing, right? I got an application done from Node.js Express generator, Express app, and I have a Docker file generated, and then build is ready. So it's pretty fast. And once build is done, I'm going to um, push that to my container registry, which is there in Azure. So it's pretty easy to create while this builds. Let me go back and show you the, yeah. So this is my Azure. Dashboard, and I would have just created container registry, just create and provide all the details whichever is required here, and set up all the things which is required, and then just review and just create. So I've already created that, just in case we don't want to over go to the time. So just to make sure that I take care of this session within 1 hour so that you don't feel bored. I've already created. This is the container registry, and I already have the build available here, and it is pretty easy. Okay, so it's very easy. I created with one command, created with Docker file. I did the build, and I'm already having the the latest build available here, which is the container image. It's available here for me. So anyway, how did I send that? It's pretty simple. I go back and open up my Docker extension, and we did this, and we just need to push this. So I've already pushed app there because I don't want to spend time there. It's like just click on push, and you get the registry
Uh,
select.
I can just see your VS Code yet. I am not seeing any other view.
Is it the same with others as well?
Venkat at least confirmed the same with him.
Yes, here too. That's it. For me, it is working well.
You're able to see
Yeah.
my Azure?
It's fine.
Yeah, now
It's good
how-
from my side to see it properly.
It's good for few people, it's not good for few people. Is that what we are seeing?
so right now I see portal Azure portal screen. Is that correct?
Yeah. And this is my terminal. You can see that?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Now I think I am updated. I am okay.
Okay, perfect. So I've already pushed the image to the to the Azure, and which is the container registry. So you can actually access it directly from here. So I don't want to spend time here because it's pretty easy. You just go to Docker and click on this, and you will be able to do it. All we have to do now is, I'm back to my Azure portal, by the way, and all we have to do now is to create an app service, which is linked to this specific container image, right? So let us go and create an app service. Click on create. So once you click on create, so you can see this. Let me select the one which I had already created. It's a resource group name, and I will say Wikibase. Okay, and then I'll select containers and Linux and any of the regions and create a new plan for Azure App Service. And I'll change this to, let it be in production. It's okay. Let's create it for production. So next is the Docker settings. I'm going to do a Docker setting, Azure Container Registry. I've already done the setups like enabling it and all those stuff. If you go to your access keys and enable it, you will be able to access this. It's pretty straightforward. It's my Express app, and tag it. And monitoring is not required. Tagging is not required. It's okay. We'll just create this app. So what we have done is created a simple app and posted into the Azure App Service. There is no GitHub involved as of today. As of now, sorry. So there is, we will push the code to GitHub Actions, GitHub, and then we will run the GitHub Actions from there. So just give a minute for this to deploy. While it deploys, I will just show you the, you know, this is the app. Okay, so I've already, you know, made sure that, the app is already here in my GitHub repo, and we can take a look at it as well. This is the code, everything which is here, it's here. And now what we are planning to do is to get this to GitHub Actions. So when I say GitHub Actions, it's here. So in your GitHub repo, there is something called as Actions button, and when you click on this Actions button, you can create actions on various things. So before I get into actions, right, let us understand how it is structured and what needs to be done with respect to the building of it, right? And how you can make use of the marketplace and other things which is available for these GitHub actions, right? So let me go back. This is done. This deployment is ready to go live. I hope it is up and running. Yes. So we have an simple Express app. Okay. So let me introduce you to GitHub Actions. So it's as I told you, right? And it's just an automation. You're going to do an automation. You used to do automation. If you were using Jenkins or anything, you were taking code from GitHub or from any Git repo you had, or from any source code control, you were using. You were taking that and making sure that you were automating it, and not just CI but also you were doing CD towards it, right, using the Jenkins. So GitHub Actions is basically similar to that. It is a automation platform for you. And as you can see this, right, I mean, from a documentation, I'm a, whenever you want to start something, when you want to read about something, new tool or anything, start with the documentation. So I just want to make sure that, you are looking at the documentation and how easy to read it. It's very simple. It's basically an event-driven approach. So whenever there is an event which is happening in a GitHub repo, which is your repo, there is a workflow which gets triggered, and these workflows have jobs, and you can see that there is a job, and within the jobs there is steps, and within that steps there is actions. It's very simple to understand. So events is what you need to understand. What are those events? Event can be a pull request, it can be a commit, it can be a any other you know event which is there, like the your watch event. Somebody is watching you or not from your GitHub repo, right? So that is also an event. So you can access the complete list of events. There is a one of the link here, and this is the list of events which you can look at. So there is bunch of things, but you can also do a simple triggers as well, which is a cron job triggers, workflow triggers through webhooks and other things as well. So net, it is an event, and there are a couple of things which runs, and then there is a couple of steps which it runs, and there is an action. This was the thing which you used to do when you drive a CI/CD workflow, right? By the way, CI/CD is a workflow which is a developer workflow, which is part of the developer workflow, if I have to put it right. So you do a lot of things when you are developing and pushing the code to production. So CI/CD is one of the component of it. So coming to this specific thing, right? How exactly it runs in GitHub? It's basically there is events, then there is jobs which gets triggered, and these jobs have steps, and it is run through a runner. So anything which is a job, like as I told you, right? For example, we are going to build a container, and we are going to build the image through the code, and we are going to push that and to the Azure App Service through the container registry. So it requires a couple of hardware, right? It requires kind of an hardware environment to run it, right? So that is what Runner does, and Runner is more of a infrastructure for running it, and this is provided by the GitHub itself. And you can also have your own runner, that means your own infrastructure to run these jobs. You can do that. There is already a setup procedure for it, and you can go through that through this documentation, but it is for the enterprise account, not for the public repos. This runner is already available for public repos from GitHub for a couple of minutes or something. So it's you can go through the pricing tag and other stuff. So it's an independent things. So it's basically one job runs on one runner. That means one job runs on one infrastructure, one specific virtual box or something. So it is not, two different jobs can run in parallel. And you can also make sure that it is waiting for others to complete and all those stuff. So it's very simple to understand the syntax, and we will go through the syntax in the demo while we're building it. But to understand this better, the workflow is very high level. Anything which happens in your repo, any changes happens to your GitHub repo, you can trigger a workflow. It can do a lot of things. You can build, test, package, release, and deploy projects. And its event is called as, like, it's a terminology. It's a trigger. So what is a trigger is nothing but the push command or the pull command, or you do a pull request, or you do various other things. All these becomes part of the event. And job is obviously a set of steps which is there, and these steps gets executed, and step has its own set of actions to drive. There are a couple of actions within the steps, and then there is actions. There is a confusion between actions. There are two different kinds of actions. There is action repo from GitHub, where all these are templates are available, and there is set of things you can run as a command, and other things is also called as actions. So we will see that anyways. And this is runner, we did talk about it, which is nothing but an infrastructure. It gives you all the infrastructures, that is Ubuntu, Microsoft, Windows, Mac OS, everything is available for you. So let us go back. So we are ready to build one set of GitHub action. So let us go back to the code which we had. So cool. This is a code base we had, and this is the GitHub GitHub actions I've created. But let me show you an example. Say, for example, this is one of the repo I have. I want to build a GitHub action to it. I'll just click on actions on the repo, and you have bunch of things. So I just want to show you, it does suggest something, but you can, you make use of all the marketplace repos which is available, workflows which is already built for you to use, right? So there is bunch of things, and you can see it is segregated into continuous integration flow workflows, and some of the you can expand it, and you can see for Python packages, Java, and .NET and other stuff which is already there, and also common things like what if a new contributor joins, how to greet him, and other things, and labeling, manual workflow, your driving and other things. So I can select any of these and set it up. So basically, simple workflow, I can set it up like this. If I set this up, it creates a simple GitHub action YAML file. It is written in YAML, by the way, and it is obviously YAML is the key pair values. And if you see this, right, so there is a simple GitHub action written just to greet and other things, and a couple of things which has been there. We'll go through the syntax. You can see it's basically a dispatch and other stuff. So you can take a look at it. But this is how you can just create, just go here and do a submit and commit it, and it is available within your repo, and you're going to use it. Okay, so let me go back to my code base and show you how it has been written. So I'll not make any changes here, but I'll just show you how it has been written. There are a couple of components in the syntax which is very much required. So one is the name. This can be optional. It's not you don't necessarily have to provide it, but it is good to provide for you to read and other stuff. And there is something called as on. So there are a couple of syntax to it, and but this is on push and master is what it is picking, but you can add the way it is required. Let me show you one of the example here in the introduction itself. Workflow syntax. So here are a couple of things on push. You can see that there is already a set of things which is already available, so you can use those syntax and make sure you have that. So it's on push, and you can obviously I'm running, there is only one there's only one branch for my repo, but if you have multiple branches, you can provide the branch details as well in the on. So basically it's basically a event which I'm trying to define here. On the event of pushing something or pushing something to master branch, I want these jobs to run, and this is what the job is, and this is how I've defined it. I've given a name called build. You can actually give any name here. It's up to you. It's not something which is defined. um, so here is where I'm selecting the infrastructure, that is the runner. So it runs on something. So what is it? So it could be a Mac, it could be a Windows, it could be a Ubuntu, and there are a couple of steps which is involved here. And you can see all these are actions which are part of the steps. Each step has different actions, and uh, this is the most important thing. Actions checkout version 2. So this is a use keyword. So use is nothing but there is already a pre-built templates, pre-built pre-built actions which is already available. Action is a um, GitHub repo, organized repo, and checkout is part of that repo, and you can actually access everything. If you go to, let me show you this. If you go to GitHub/actions, right, you can see all the repo which are part of it. So what is our repo? It's checkout, right? So let's see, this is the repo we are using, right? So it is already pre-built. It is already, somebody has written the action for you to check out the code and start working on it. So that is already available for you. And it is the versions as well. So they have a release versions and other things. It is available, and then I'm using that. And if you go into this repo, right, and you can actually see there is actions.yaml, and this is what it is using, right? So there is a couple of things it takes in as a values, and probably you will have to go through this to build a more complicated GitHub actions for you to use it in day-to-day life. It's like for the production environment. So I don't want to go in depth into this, but the most important thing here is to understand this is a repo, and it is a simple repo which is part of the actions uh, repo, right? And the organized repo, right? So it's available for there are 43 repositories around under this, and you can make use of any of these repos. Coming back to um, there is Azure. So what I'm trying to do now is, I check out the code. I log into my container registry. I do the build and deploy, right? So it's very simple. So to use Azure specific things, all I need to do is take this Azure Docker login version 1. This is also a repo defined by Azure. Azure has released its own, uh, its own repositories to be used in in the GitHub Actions. So if you go to the GitHub, github.com/Azure, right? So for example, this one /Azure gives you the ones which we are going to use, right? So if you go to GitHub Actions.com/Azure, and you will find all the repositories. So you can see this. So it's already available. So it takes in all those inputs which we were giving, right? That is app name, description, profile, publishing your profile, what profile slots, and image description and other things. These are the things which we gave while we created app service, right? So the same things are available here, and you provide those details and it gets deployed. So I'm coming back here, and if you notice this, right, my login is secret, right? I've added secrets. So where do I add these secrets, right? So just want to spend some time there. Before that, login server is my nothing but a container registry. So if you go to my portal, we saw that we had a container registry by name Wikibytes. So it was already set up. So it is already the same name I've given, and the username and password is a secret. And how do I generate that? So if you go into the all resources, just go into my container registry. This is my container registry, and then go into the access keys, right? And you get the details here. Okay, so these are the access keys, and I'm just copying it and creating it. Okay, so let me go back to this. So where do I, where do I store these stuff, right? So there is a secret which I've created, but where am I storing it, right? So that is more important. So let me go back to my repo and go into the settings of the repo, and there is something called as secrets here. And when I click on the secrets, this is where you get it. And these are the simple definitions I've provided for the name of the repo, name of the secrets, by the way. So you can just create it like this, just create a new repository secret, give it a name, use the values for it, add the secret, and you can go back and use it in this way. So it's very simple. For container registry, I just need to go to my access keys, create those access keys, come to the repository settings, provide the details here, and I have my login server details ready, up and running. And these are simple commands, right? This is a run keyword, which is the command, run command, where I'm giving, you know I'm getting into the my Express app folder, and I'm doing the build, and this is my build, and this is the new version name, that is the GitHub SHA we have provided, and this is the push command as well. And for Azure web app deployment, that is what we did talk about it. So it is nothing but already a pre-built template which is already available. All you need to do is to pick that template and use it. So notice that for this there is use, for anywhere you're using already a uh, pre-built template which is already available, you're using users, and then there is you know width as well, so that you can provide the login details and other stuff. And then there is run command, which is a new one. And anywhere you're using with different things, you make sure that you provide the details. So it is more of a authentication and other things is required. You use with this use. Okay. So this is a structure. So for creating a secret for Azure Web App Publish profile, it's very simple. Let us go back to my portal. Um, to my portal, all resources, and then go back and say app service. So in my app service, you can see this, there is a get profile, get publish profile, right? So when I download this, I get a file and it downloads obviously. Once it downloads, go back to my secrets in my um, repo, and then just create a new and provide whatever you downloaded, the content of the file, whatever you downloaded, provide the details, provide the name, and then you can go back and use it here, right? So it's very simple, and you're providing images and other things. So for app service, right, it's very easy, right? You're setting up the Docker, and then we have done build, and we are pushing it to the app service, which we already have. I hope that is the name of the app service. Yes. And oh, we haven't done that, right? So we need to download. Did it download? Oh yeah, and did cancel. So where is my GitHub? Okay, here. So let us open the download tree, the fourth one, right? Okay, the fourth one, and this is how it will look basically, and we'll make it a word wrap so that you can see it better, right? And I'll copy this, go back to my repo. I'll not create a new one. I'll just go there and update the one which is already there with the new one, and I've updated the secret. Okay, so now I've updated the secret because I was previously using the old publish profile for that specific app service. It's a new app service which we created while doing the demo. So that is the reason why I need to update it. This is not required because this is anyways the container registry was there. We didn't create a new one. Okay, so we have the settings ready. We have everything ready now. And all we need to do is, go back. This is already there, by the way. This code is already there, so I don't need to do any check-ins or freshly check-in stuff. It is already there, so I don't need to do much changes to it. But I want to show how it works, right? How we're going to do it. So let me go back here. This is the code which we had, which was running. Okay, this is the code which was running, and what we will now do is go to code and just going to edit some stuff. I'm doing it directly, which is not the right practice, but I'll add .400 font size. We'll make it 100 just so that we can see it. Add something, change font, commit. right? So now I've committed. So what happens? What should happen is when I do that, I'll see, uh, you can see this. This is the color. So it just started queuing, right? So if you see this, this was the, comment I gave to the code. And the moment I changed the code, it started building something for me, right? And if you just go inside that, you can also see the workflow here. You can see what is the status, what's happening, and everything here. You know that you can actually build, multiple stuff, right? So it's it's like one job I've given here. There can be multiple job in the workflow, and also you can add. It requires the first job to finish. So if you add a test job next, right after build, you want to add a test, say basically that will be a separate job and there will be a connector to it and it will be waiting for it. So I'm not done that. We will see that, we will try and build that as we go into the next sessions. We'll see how it goes on and how it gets delivered into the, Kubernetes and serverless and other things with some complicated things. So let us see this, what happening here. Each step you can see here, what it was doing. It took permission, it did checkout, and these are the things it is doing, and it did run docker login. It used the configurations which I had given, and it did, simple docker file. It did package it and deployed it to the web app, right? So it is done that. And if we go back here and see this, you can see, the font became very big, and the padding and everything we added became so big. So this is a simple way to build and deploy your code, right? It's, I have a code, I post the code. It's like it has, it did build the container. It was automated, completely automated, and it is just going into the production, and my code is here. So what I can add here is my test scripts, my, most important things, checks and other things. Even, I can add, even somebody did a pull request. I can add a multiple event, right? It's not like on push. Also, it runs um, on the pull request. Also, it runs, because if I do a pull request, I want to make sure my code is integrated. So that is how, CI works. And this is a simple example of, building something and deploying it to Azure App Service. And Azure App Service has a couple of things. You can do it with packages. I did with containers, but you can do it with packages. That could be an exercise for you. Just go back and try building something, and try and see if you can build and deploy without doing a containerized. Just do a package and deploy it to the Azure App Service through GitHub Actions. That would be a very good, learning curve as well. So this was the demo which I wanted to, drive. Before I go into my talk, any questions people have?
If you don't mind, can you share this screen, recorded link? So it will be useful for us. Some of us are joined in between. So if you share the recorded link, it will be useful for us to.
It will be, the recording will be uploaded to the thing, to the Reactor YouTube channel,
Oh, okay.
and you can actually take that from there.
Okay, thank you.
So any questions? Yeah, I can see there are these secrets have a specific hash or any decoder code embedded in it? I don't know the internal design for it. It is specifically designed. I think it is SHA. That's what I know. And from a GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps pipeline to automation job of build and deploy. Yes, it is very similar, but it is See, there are a couple of differences. Azure DevOps, you can use it with any source code control, but GitHub Actions is specifically for the for the GitHub repo. So, I mean, there are many things like environment variables. You can have different environments. You're managing with different environments and other things. So there are many things which is there. Any other questions? I don't know what book is this? Open source revolution in the book. Okay, Phoenix Project is a good book for DevOps if you want to read. It's a nice way to understand end-to-end DevOps, how exactly a enterprise can adopt an DevOps strategy. Yes, you can. So basically, since I've Dockerized the application, if you have a Docker file created for this specific thing, you should be able to drive it. The Django application is there, right? Definitely you should. The same steps, but your Docker file has to talk to Django related stuff. It's easy to build. Any other questions? You can also unmute and ask questions. No worries. Any more questions? That we will see. How to monitor the code. We have, we have marketplace to do that. I didn't specifically talk about it because anyways, next talk, we have a couple of things to use in the marketplace, and we will be picking up the workflows from the marketplace. Anything else? Sure. GitHub repo is part of the check-in. So if you go to the check-in, I will share the GitHub repo there as well. If you go and check in, you'll get that repo directly. The link is available there. So that is the advantage of doing a check-in. Yes, it is. It is similar. See, the pipeline is equal to workflow. So, basically, GitHub Actions is very similar to the pipeline. See, GitHub Actions is a feature, right? So uh, it's called workflow. It's in Azure DevOps. If you're using, it's called pipelines. But the thing is, it's more sophisticated in Azure DevOps because it's built for enterprise. It's more of a, you have environments in between. It can work with any source code control, and integrations are very different. Way to use it. Similarly, the GitHub Actions as well, but it's more of GitHub events only. So it is specifically to GitHub. So that is the only difference between these two. The workflow automation is common. It's available. The developer workflow automation is always there. Yes, I think what I have seen is people are moving towards microservices. So the moment there is a microservice come into picture, especially somebody asked me to talk from a startup ecosystem, how GitHub Actions will have. The more you use microservices, you will be able to make use of the GitHub Actions better because it's specifically to GitHub repo. Most of the companies are building softwares and storing their code on GitHub. So basically, it's there. So it is easier to use GitHub Actions, and a lot of integrations which has come in. So since the lot of these simple way to use the actions, right? Like from the code, if you see, I was able to simply use action slash checkout at version 2 or Azure slash Docker login at version 1 or something. So it's pretty easy. Somebody else has already built the templates for you. You're just picking those templates and just going and deploying it there. So that's the whole point. So there was one more question. I missed it. Do you see? Yeah. So sir, also multiple language use in project with GitHub Action can change it. Can be changed accordingly. Yes, it can. See, the more you dockerize stuff, it's easier. It's just your Docker files. But I wouldn't recommend that changing the whole language for a thing. It's completely a new repository for me. As a developer, should I be knowing the DevOps to do this extent? No, it's not. Like it's any developer can go ahead and build GitHub Actions. So you can just have a repo, simple repo. You can go back and build simple automations on top of your repo. uh, Anyone can do it. It's no it's pretty easy to build it. If you see the workflow I did, uh, these are just concepts like skills. If you understand the secrets, you create the secrets. It's very simple to create it. And if you understand the structure of this YAML file, what are the things you need to provide in this YAML file, it's all available in the documentation. So it's pretty easy to use. And obviously there are already pre-built workflows which is already there in the marketplaces, so you can go back and use that. And there is obviously there you can select it and deploy it, so you should be able to do it. So GitHub Actions is nothing but a developer workflow. So even Jenkins, Azure DevOps as well, and there is rest of the other tools, which is CI/CD tools, is all part of as a competitor. Anyone who is automating the stuff, right? Automating the developer workflow is a competitor. Even you can use APIs and build an automation around it and become a competitor for GitHub Actions for sure. But it's more of you know the only advantage here is because your source code is already there in the GitHub, you can easily use it. So that's the biggest advantage. Yes, you can. TeamCity can also be used, but it is not, since your code is already there here and there is so many repositories which is coming from the community for GitHub Actions, so it's easier to use GitHub Actions than anything else. So that is the reason why GitOps and GitHub Actions is picking up. Anything else? Any other questions? Else I have a couple of more slides, by the way, so let me show that. So, for people to, to understand end to end of it, I have this 30 days challenge, which is open for GitHub Actions. I have personally created the Microsoft Learn modules. Either you can use the QR code or the link which is there. Just go there and just sign up and start learning yourself. In 30 days you should be a subject matter expert in this, because I have selected the modules which are very specific to Kubernetes, specific to other set of things with app service, containers and various other things. So go ahead and check it out and make sure that you complete those modules so that you can play around with GitHub Actions very easily. Okay, so given that, anything else, any other questions which is coming? Yes, Rakesh. Okay, you have a question. Sorry, Azure DevOps. When we have Azure DevOps, we need again. So, see, Azure DevOps, as I told you, it is built for enterprise workflows, and if you see in an enterprise, there is when I was working as well, it is we had um, developer environment, QA environments, system integration environment, integration environments, and various other environments, pre-production, production environment, with artifacts management, with a controlled way of deployment. Here, I don't know how to control the deployment, right? So GitHub Actions has a direct deployment. It is an amazing tool for continuous deployment, where you just push the code and code is in the production, which is a use case for startups and for people who are building a rapid agile stuff, right? But enterprise don't push something to production, just like, if I push the code and it goes to production, right? There is someone who is looking into it, and somebody has to approve the code, and somebody has to, after approving, it goes to pre-production, and then pre-production is tested by the customers and other people, and then they like it or not, and then it goes to production. Yes, Kubernetes solves the problems. Kubernetes does the provide you the different kinds of deployments, and solves that problem for you, but still there is a control, and there is a way to release it, and those things is not available with GitHub Actions. And GitHub Actions is more from automating the developer workflows, putting your code to production, and uh, there is a direct continuous deployment strategy there. So it's not the continuous delivery strategy, it is continuous deployment strategy. While scanning the QR code, Evented is asking which one to give. That is Rashmita. Rashmita will give you the ID. Is it any other questions? No worries, Rakesh. I think you're good to go with the discussions. Any other questions, guys? So next week, we will definitely spend some time on Kubernetes and serverless. We will deep dive into it because it's something really interesting. Um, you know, Basically there is a lot of things which will get changed in our YAML file, and it's not direct the way it is for this one. Anything? Thanks, Narendra. Any other questions? Anyone? A minute. We can spend some time. We have 5 more minutes. Otherwise, please do check in. It's very important. Yep.
Hello, hi, Vivek. So this is just to extend my previous question, wherein there are developers and then we have DevOps engineers, and if we look at the roles, so the roles are kind of overlapped. So we don't have a defined roles or scopes or maybe responsibilities for devs and DevOps engineers. So if I look at myself, who is a developer, so what do you think, according to you, to what extent should I be carrying out DevOps related activities as well, apart from my development? To what extent can I go and carry out DevOps related activities as well? When we have a DevOps teams as well, even in that case also. So what do you think? How much a developer should also need to know?
So, uh, So see, developer and DevOps, it's kind of a join. Okay, so it's basically if you if you see that a developer will also be part of the DevOps process. See, the most important thing you need to understand is what is DevOps. So DevOps does not start with code, basically. It never starts with code. And if you see Azure DevOps, and if you see the kind of um, the the features which the products which they have, right? It is like it starts with Kibana, setting up your storyboard and all those things, right? So it is not with the code. It is basically the planning phase, and then there is a connection to the code through planning, and you write the code, you deploy the code, and then there is then you work with DevOps engineers or SRE engineers to again, there is a difference between an SRE and a DevOps engineer. DevOps engineer automates all these things. So he writes this. You push the code as a developer. I wrote the code. I pushed the code to this repo. As a DevOps engineer, I would have written the GitHub Actions for making sure that it gets built and deploy and other things. And these secrets and other things and all of these things are very DevOps oriented. And once the DevOps engineer has done all these automations and other things, managing these automations and other things, the SRE engineer comes in where he manages this code in production. So you wrote a code that I did change the style of the file. That is my code as a developer. And as a DevOps engineer, I was automating it, building it, deploying it, pushing it to the production environment, and it has been run. As an SRE engineer, I'm going to make sure that code is running in the production. Okay, there's three different roles. So when SRE comes into picture, his role is to make sure the code is running, the monitoring, the metrics, the log management, and all those things comes into picture. And whenever something happens, he's the point of contact, and he's the person who is looking into the issue, and then checking with the DevOps engineer, asking him who pushed this code, right? And DevOps engineer should be able to tell me who pushed code to production in the specific time on this specific things where the code is failing, and directly relating it to the developer who pushed it. Imagine we have 50 developers who are pushing it on this production environment today, and there is a failure at some point, and SRE engineer picks it up, gives the handle to the DevOps engineer that see, I can see that there is a problem in this specific area, and it is the automation's responsibility of the automation team to link it back to the developer through an automated way, not a manual way, right? I cannot do it manually. I cannot call up everybody who pushed this code and stuff like that. So it has to be a automated way. So this is different roles, and unfortunately the companies combine these roles. Unfortunately, people think that these are same people. System administrators and DevOps engineers are same people. There is, that is because the lack of understanding of DevOps and DevOps process and all those stuff. Got,
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah, thank you.
to the level you need to know everything. As an engineer, you need to understand
Okay.
the everything. But if you're a pure developer, your focus is only on that style code which I wrote, right?
Yeah.
But you should know how to do this GitHub Actions, and how DevOps engineer is looking at it, and then how does it be managed in the production and other stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Anything? So, Prashmita, are you there? There is
Yes, Vivek.
check in. People there? Hello. People are there? Any questions? Plus, I mean, please do check in because there is content available there. I've already uploaded the content there. You'll get access to the content in the repo itself, and the code and everything is there. This is the event code, by the way. So thanks.